Do you have an injury claim for which you've received a notice of deposition? Hi friends, this is attorney Ruben Espinoza today with my basic recommendations for how to conduct yourself during an examination by way of deposition. It's common in a workers' comp case and other injury cases to be deposed by the insurance company, where you as the deponent or the witness will be asked questions under oath. So I have some basic recommendations for how to go about doing this in an effective way that's going to help your case. The first recommendation is making sure that you tell the truth. You are put under oath at the beginning of the deposition, so it's important that you be truthful. Most importantly, with questions where there could be some evidence to contradict your answer. These might be things like medical reporting. These might be things that your employer generated documents that could contradict your testimony. It's very important to be careful about answering those kinds of questions where you could be contradicted. The second recommendation is making sure that you understood the question that was asked and what information is being requested before you make any attempt to answer. If there's any question in your mind, any doubt about what exactly is being asked, don't try to answer the question. In that case, it's best to simply say, I didn't understand the question, or to seek some kind of clarification before making an attempt to answer the question. The third recommendation I have for you is to make sure that when you do answer, make sure your answers are short. Only answer with the information that was requested without giving a whole narrative or telling a whole story related to the question. You shouldn't provide a context or information related to context unless you're specifically asked. And so along with that recommendation is, if you can answer a question with a simple yes or a no, it's best to answer that way and wait for the next question. The fourth recommendation I have for you is making sure that you answer using words. So you don't want to say when you're trying to say yes. You don't want to say when you're trying to say no. The other thing is, you don't want to just point to body parts to explain where you're injured or explain where you have symptoms. So you don't want to say, it hurts here or it hurts here. You want to say, my neck hurts. You want to say, my shoulder hurts. My left shoulder hurts. The more specific you can be, the better. So we want to avoid gestures only. Okay? It's okay to gesture and use words, but we don't want to just use gestures. Okay? The next recommendation I have for you is when you should answer, I do not know. So it's important not to guess any answer. If you know personally, in other words, if you heard something, if you saw something, or if you felt something and you recall, then you have firsthand information to be able to answer that question. But if it's information that you didn't have firsthand, so for example, information that somebody passed along to you, you shouldn't answer as if you personally knew or know that information. In that case, a simple I do not know that would be sufficient and appropriate. The sixth recommendation I have for you is when to answer with I do not recall. First of all, there's no issue it's not a bad thing to say I do not recall. A lot of people will feel under pressure to provide a response even though their memory is not 100%. My thinking on that is better to say I do not recall. It's a safer answer than to provide a response when you're really not sure. If you do have a high degree of confidence about your memory, then by all means, go ahead and answer. Okay, but if you're a little more like 50-50 about recalling the information correctly, you're better off saying, I do not recall that. And again, there's nothing wrong with saying that. A related recommendation is not to answer no when you're asked a question and you feel what you're thinking inside you is, I don't recall that being the case, or I don't think that's true. If that's how you feel about it, you shouldn't answer with a no, because no's mean I am sure that does not apply to me. So obviously that sentiment and the sentiment I don't think that's the case are not the same, which is why you shouldn't answer no if what you're thinking, I don't think that applies to me, or I don't think that's true. In that case, you should say, I don't recall. You can also say, not that I recall. You could also simply say, I don't think that's true, but you shouldn't say no. So stay away from no answers unless you're 100% sure. My seventh recommendation is for how to answer questions that can be estimated. So not all questions can provide lend themselves to providing an estimate. Specifically here, we're talking about questions that can be answered with a number. So a time, the number of instances, a weight or a measurement, those are all numbers. Those can be expressed as numbers. And even if you don't recall the exact number, you can provide your best estimate. The important thing to do there is just to make sure that you're indicating through some word or phrase that your response is merely an estimate. So you can say, my estimate is, it was 3 o'clock. You can say it was approximately 3 o'clock. You can say it was between 1 and 3 o'clock. Those are all fine and clearly indicate that your response is only an estimate and that the insurance shouldn't hold you to an exact number. Finally, number 8, my recommendation is to ask for breaks during your deposition, as many as you need. It's good to take a break here and there to regroup, to refocus, to get some water, because depositions can take a while. And so it's important to stay fresh during the deposition so your responses can be of high quality. Friends, those were my 8 basic recommendations for how to answer questions at deposition. Again, these are general recommendations, not a particular legal opinion in your particular case. If you need a consultation in your case, please feel free to reach out to my office, 213-228-3232. Find me on YouTube, find me on TikTok, or on the web, espinozalawgroup.com. Thank you.